All right, let's get right into it. The entire global pharmaceutical world just felt a massive tremor. And you know what? It all started with one single major regulatory change. We are talking about India's Schedule M, and its latest evolution is making waves across the entire international supply chain. So, for decades, India's been called the pharmacy of the world, right? Mostly because of the sheer amount of medicine it produces. Well, that pharmacy just got a huge top-to-bottom upgrade. And believe me, this isn't just a fresh coat of paint. It's a fundamental rebuild of how drugs are made. And that has massive implications for, well, all of us. And that, of course, brings us to the big question, the one we're going to unpack right here. After all these changes, does India's good manufacturing practice, or GMP, finally sync up with the world's toughest regulators? We're talking the WHO, or maybe even the USFDA. Let's find out. To really get why this is such a big deal, you can't just see it as some local rule change in India. No, you have to look at it as a critical update to the entire global pharma operating system. This really does affect everyone. For years, the old Schedule M was kind of seen as a basic GMP. It worked, sure, but it wasn't always up to snuff with what international players expected. The 2024 overhaul just flips the script completely. It's a total redesign, and it's all about lifting Indian manufacturing to a level where it can compete and comply anywhere on the planet. So what's actually under the hood here? What exactly did the regulators change? Let's get into the specifics and see how this new framework for quality is actually built. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the change in thinking here. It's a move away from just, a simple checklist to building a real, proactive culture of quality. So what does that mean? Well, think of it like this. Under the old system, an inspector might ask, did you sign the cleaning log? And if you say yes, boom, check mark. But the new system asks, what is the risk of contamination? Show me the data that proves your cleaning actually works for this specific drug. See the difference? It's a huge shift from, did you do it, to can you prove it works and that you've thought about what could go wrong? That right there is the game changer. And this new mindset isn't just a vague idea. It's backed by a massive structural change. The revised schedule adds 13 brand new sections. Just that number alone tells you how big this transformation is. We're talking about a ground-up rebuild of how pharmaceutical quality is managed. And this slide shows you exactly where the new focus is. That risk-based thinking we just talked about, it's now officially a thing called quality risk management, or QRM. The whole philosophy is wrapped up in what's called Pharmaceutical Quality Systems, or PQS. And what's really crucial here is that the update officially pulls in guidelines from the International Council for Harmonization, ICH Q9 and Q10. This is literally the language of global pharma, and now it's written directly into Indian law. So, with this new philosophy and all these new rules, how does the new Schedule M actually compare to the global heavy hitters? Let's put it on the scorecard. When you put the new Schedule M side by side with the standards from the World Health Organization and PICS, that's the Pharmaceutical Inspection Cooperation Scheme, it's honestly hard to tell them apart. This quote just nails it. The core ideas are now almost identical. This table breaks it down perfectly. When you look at WHO and PICS, who are all about that risk-based approach, the alignment is super high. It's that near mirror image we just saw. But then you look at the USFDA, and it's a bit of a different story. The FDA is famously outcome-based and has this intense focus on data integrity. Now, the new Schedule M is way more detailed and prescriptive, which does make it more like US standards, but there's still a bit of a philosophical difference. And that's why, for now, we're calling that alignment medium. So let's get to the bottom line. What does all of this mean in the real world? For businesses, for supply chains, what's the actual impact on the ground? It really boils down to a two-sided benefit, which is pretty cool. If you're a manufacturer in India, following the new Schedule M isn't just a chore, it's your passport. It's your ticket for much easier access to those highly regulated Western markets. And then, if you're a buyer in the US or Europe, you now have a clear, globally recognized benchmark. It makes auditing so much simpler and builds a whole new level of trust in your suppliers. But like we saw, while the gap has shrunk big time, it's not totally gone. And that brings us to the final and maybe most critical piece of this whole puzzle. So here's the key takeaway. India has taken an absolutely monumental leap forward. It's bringing its pharma standards in line with the rest of the world. That connection to global markets is stronger than it's ever been. But there is still one big looming question hanging in the air. After this massive overhaul, is it really enough to finally close that last, notoriously tough compliance gap with the USFDA, or is there still another mountain to climb before there's perfect, seamless alignment with the world's most demanding regulator? Honestly, the answer to that question is what's going to define the next chapter for the pharmacy of the world.